Hi, everybody. Hi, everybody. Hi, everybody, and welcome back to the Talking About the Big Stuff podcast with Michael Cole and Matthew Cravat. I am Michael Cole.
And I am Matthew Cravat.
Tonight's topic. Tonight's topic is.
You say it's your birthday. My birthday too now.
Yeah, let's talk about birthdays. As of today, live when we're recording, it is my nephew's 13th birthday. Happy birthday, RJ. Hopefully you're not listening, but your mom might be.
You're a man, RJ. Congratulations.
He's Jewish, so that is the age at which they become men, but we don't become men until much older, and then so don't think that you're not getting permission to do shit.
We're taking you to Cockeye Jenny.
Anyway, so
today you are a fountain pen, my friend.
So anyway, but as of the episode, as of the day this episode will go out to the masses through our RSS feed, it will be my birthday on that day. So I thought, let's talk about birthdays. I know, that birthday. Yeah, I was kind of thinking Alex was going to be on tonight, and I know Alex doesn't like talking about.
He has a birthday, doesn't he?
And we missed it. I don't remember when, but it's like the end of July. And we missed his 42nd birthday.
Oh my God!
Happy birthday!
The answer to everything.
Belated birthday, Alex. If you're watching out there, or if you're listening later on,
if you're editing later, Alex.
If you're editing later, if you're pulling clips, pull this clip of your birthday.
But I had such a good time. Mike and I went out for your birthday. We forgot to invite you, but we had a great time. We went out to Second Empire in Raleigh. It cost us $300 a person. We took it out of company funds. It was great.
What is Second Empire?
It's a really high-end restaurant in Raleigh.
Oh.
Like, the work goes there for the very, very, very special celebration.
Yeah. So I know, Alex, I think he mentioned it last year. He doesn't like talking about his birthday. He would
we didn't
prefer
talk about your birthday over dinner.
He'd prefer people not know when his birthday is. So I actually don't know the date. I had to look it up last year.
The one you just announced. Nice.
I said roughly at the end of July. But
okay, everybody from July 20th to 31st, you have to say happy birthday to Alex every day.
Yeah. So anyway, I just thought it would be interesting because everyone kind of seems to have a different relationship with their birthday, whether or not they like it or hate it, or do you have a tradition for your birthday? And I thought it might be a fun topic for us.
Since we don't have Alex to dislike on birthdays, I will have a story. Yes, Mikey. Mikey has a bad birthday experience, lifetime-wise, and we had a really fun experience with one. So I will tell my Mikey and I birthday story when we get to it.
Okay. Cool. Yeah, I have a weird relationship with my birthday because it is it's the August 29th. So it tends to be going into Labor Day weekend. It changes depending on, because it has to do with
Labor Day weekend could be a little later.
Yeah. But growing up, it meant that I was always 3 days away from school starting on my birthday. And so the kids that were September, 15th, they could have a birthday. They could bring in cupcakes. They could do all. I've never done that. That was a weird little thing where it wasn't like I was July 15th and I was just well, no shot. I was this close, and you don't want to start school earlier to get that, but you at the same time, it's a little,
my birthday is November, right?
Yeah.
And I remember one year, in March or April, whatever, at the birthday after birthday after birthday at school, a girl in my class was when is your birthday? Why haven't we had a birthday party for you? And I'm like, no, we did. It was just back in November, and you don't remember it anymore. Because everybody seems to be, there's so many spring babies. Everyone's birthday is every day there's a birthday party in the spring. Yeah. And then people forgot mine existed back then.
Yeah. And yours is, it's not on Christmas, but it's basically on a holiday.
No, it's not.
It's the day after a holiday.
If you're Catholic, it is, because it's my birthday's on All Saints Day.
Right.
But I'm not. Here's the thing. I don't want to get, maybe if I have to get into Mikey's world now. Mikey, everyone knows Mikey, my best friend Mikey, he was on the show talking about how he almost died. He comments on all the mistakes that I make on the show when I'm referencing pop culture off the top of my head on topics that I didn't pay attention to ahead of time, so I couldn't research. Mikey's birthday is Halloween. So very distinctly, he was yelling at you when you said my birthday's on a holiday because he's like, no, my fucking birthday's on the holiday, not Matthew's. And it's important to know that. So if I can go to my Mikey story, here's my Mikey story. First of all, I'm going to tell tales, Mikey, about you out of school. Mikey didn't have a great parental child relationship when he was growing up, and he didn't get celebrated very much. Classic quote. Well, the reason Mikey had no birthday parties growing up. Who would want to come to your birthday party when they could be trick or treating? Says Dad. So, not a great time for Mikey. He had his 5th birthday. He had a surprise party. His 50th birthday. He had a surprise party, but we decorated everything with like the 0 and 5 reverse on the cake and stuff. And we had all Captain America stuff to pin the shield on the Captain America instead of pin the like we played all the kids game. We did like a 5-year-old's birthday party on his 50th birthday as a surprise party, and it was the first birthday party he had ever had as a big party. Like as an adult, he never had one even. So until then. But that's not the story. The story is, once upon a time, there was a community theater opening up in North Carolina, and they requested that our improv troupe be part of their grand opening and do a comedy show. Yep. So we went and did a show. And one of the improv forms that we developed that we used to love to do, we called True Stories. And it was kind of a long form improvisation. For those of you in the audience that don't know what that means it's not like Whose Line Is It Anyway, where every 2 minutes we ask for a suggestion. We would ask for a suggestion and build 20 minutes off of that one suggestion. Yeah. So it's a long form because the form was long. It's not very difficult to understand. True Stories was we would ask for suggestion from the audience, and then we would take turns doing monologues of true stories, anecdotes from our life, as true as we could make them. And then we would act them out as a troupe and heighten them and explore them and make them more interesting and more funny in the acting it out. So I don't remember if the suggestion was birthdays from the theater from that night or if it was Halloween. It was one or the other. Because Mikey steps up to do his monologue. And he goes, my birthday's on Halloween. And it fucking sucks. Well, there may have been kids in the audience. Maybe he didn't say fucking. Maybe he just said, it sucks. And he told the story about how his dad said, why would anyone come to a party at your house? So how he had never had parties and how everyone was out trick-or-treating. And he didn't even go trick-or-treating because he was so mad about it being his birthday and not being celebrated. So he tells us this gut-wrenching story that we have to find humor in. So we then act that out as best we can, like me being his angry dad or whatever. I don't really remember the details of us acting it out, but we made it as funny as we could make it. Then I edit that scene to tell my story. And I say, my birthday's the day after Halloween. And it is the best. Every party I ever had is a costume party. And I got to have Halloween parties that went over past midnight in college. And at midnight they'd play, We Ain't Gonna Take It, which was my song. And everyone would turn to a birthday party for me at this rager. It was awesome. And I said, and birthday parties when I was a kid, kids would bring like the leftover candy that they didn't like from their candy. They just put that in with my present. And my candy I didn't like, I would put in my gift bags to get rid of them to the kids. It was awesome. I'm going on and on about it. And I told the story about some cute girls would come in cute costumes. And I was into girls when I was young. So it was like 2nd grade. 2 girls locked themselves in my parents' bedroom because I was chasing them trying to get a birthday kiss. But when we got to like college, the girls were dressed as slutty as they want to be, and then all happy for my birthday.
You're trying to get birthday head.
Yeah, exactly. And so we're acting that out, right? So we're acting out this great big party, and Mikey doesn't enter the scene, and so I'm chasing 2 of the girls around in the scene, whatever, and Mikey just shimmies around the back of the stage and like parts his face up like he's looking through the window, like he wasn't invited to the party. It was one of the funniest things that we ever did on stage. It was delightful. Mikey was quite brilliant to turn his pain into humor in such a way. But again, like you, Mike, you have been to my Halloween /birthday parties in the past. Like that's one of the cool things. Like, and with Mikey too. Like I think we usually pull out since Mikey's part of my life. When we have a Halloween party at the end, we pull out a birthday cake, and it's to Matthew and Mikey all the time because we share the party, obviously. Um,
Yeah.
but that's my cool birthday experience growing up. Was always Halloween, and post Halloween fun. It was not Mikey's fun time though,
Yeah.
and that's why he's a grouch and I'm a happy guy. Ooh.
Nice. So I'll tell a story about my birthday. So when I turned 18, my birthday came and went. And, I'm sure we did whatever I do actually. We went, my parents took us to the movies, my sister and I in the movies, and we did 2 movies in a row that day, which was literally the 4 of us have never done that before. We've been to the movies, but
Was it Orca and Lifeguard?
no. I don't remember what the second movie was, but the first movie was My Big Fat Greek Wedding. You don't like My Big Fat Greek Wedding?
No, I'm thinking like when I was like 12, I went to see Orca, and then Lifeguard, which is really dirty, came on afterwards. We didn't know it was a double feature, and me and my friends were like, "Oh my god, what are we seeing?" And so I'm picturing that age, and you're like,
Oh, yeah.
"I saw My Big Fat Greek Wedding," and in my head, I'm picturing 12-year-old Mike watching
No.
My Big Fat Greek Wedding for his birthday.
No, 18. And it was cool because that week I saw the 2 movies with my parents and Sam, and then I saw 2 movies with my friends. Again, I only remember one of the 2 movies, which was Signs, the M. Night Shyamalan movie.
Swing away, Mike.
Yeah. And then so that's what it was like kind of an uneventful birthday otherwise. Like it wasn't a big deal, right? So my uncle, his birthday is September 22nd, I think. And we're 3 weeks into school, and my mom is like, we're going up for Uncle Joe's birthday. They lived in New Hampshire, and Massachusetts to New Hampshire. Like I know that like state to state's a weird thing in like bigger states like this, but like where they lived in New Hampshire and where we lived in Massachusetts was like maybe an hour's drive. Like it was kind of like,
Yeah, when you live near the border, it's kind of a blur. Yeah,
it was like Sanford to to Raleigh essentially, like, right? So we lived, pretty close to them. So we were going up there, and it was just Sam and I, and my mom was like, I'm going up to help Aunt Chris and Uncle Joe set up for the party. You guys come up, whatever. And we're pulling up we're like 5 minutes from my aunt and uncle's house, and Sam's like, I need to pee. And I'm like, we're almost there. And she's like, I just pull in here. I need to pee. And it was so that she could call my mom. We're coming up to my aunt and uncle's house, and a bunch of my high school friends are standing on the corner of the street with like happy birthday Mike signs up. And I'm like, I'm like literally driving, and I'm like, those look like my friends. And I can't read the signs because they're, like little paper, and I, am far enough away. And I'm like, that's the girl I have a crush on. That's,
yeah.
that looks like Pat. That's and so I had a surprise party, which I obviously that's where this story's going. It was a great time. It was one of the best things was that for whatever reason there was my aunt and uncle had like a ton of, they had a pool, which was partly why we did it there, I think, but they also had like a ton of like the highest end super soakers because my uncle loves toys, and like he likes spending money on the good toys. So they had like high end super soakers. One of my friends broke one of his super soakers, and he pulls out a chainsaw. Which one of you motherfuckers broke my and it was hilarious, my friend running around. So hilarious. That was, so there's that. So then we fast forward to my 24th or 5th. I forget which one it was. I think it was 25th. And I am working at Verizon, and I ask a bunch of friends from work. I'm like, you guys want to go out after work? And it's my birthday. You guys want to go to like TGI Fridays, was across the street from work, so we would go there after work all the time. And they're like, sure, sure. And one of my friends texts my sister and is like, Mike, I think it was Adam. I think was like, Mike is planning his own birthday party, and my sister
So
texts
sad
me
that you had to use your imaginary friend to text your sister.
So he
For your
texts
own birthday
her.
party.
He texts her because they had set up a surprise party for me to go bowling. and
You're
you
gonna
know,
stay out all night drinking.
and I blew my own surprise party. Like, so she ended up just bringing everyone over to that. And then 2 years later, I did the same thing. She was planning another one, and I was like, "Oh, I'm thinking this for my birthday." At that point, I'm with Sarah, so this is 27 or no 28. I think I'm 28 at this point, and planning another one, uh, and she's like, "I had something planned for you," and I'm like, "Well, you
Stop doing
gotta."
surprises; they don't work.
Well, also, like, how often you could just so finally we get to my 30th, and my 30th is 2 weeks before I get married to Sarah, and
Does Sarah know that, or is that a surprise?
she knew, and so it's like, uh, it's the morning of the thing, and we're going in to have dinner with my parents, but my mom and dad are at the, like, they were living in an apartment while they built a house, and their apartment complex had like a pool house, but it was, and they were like, just come meet us there because we got to do some stuff. I'm like, oh, okay. I go in, my entire family's there, like, 50 people, and they're like, surprise. I'm like, thanks. And they're like,
Yeah,
were
big
you not
surprise.
surprised? I'm like, it's in a pool.
Meet me
Brought
at
me
the
over to meet
clubhouse
me
that
at
we
the
rent for
clubhouse,
parties.
and, as well as, like, you can't have a surprise party every year and have it remain a surprise. I'm like, it's literally, this is, at that point, is 12 years after my first surprise party, and it was the fourth or fifth attempt at a surprise party. I'm like, eventually, it's just not a
Even
surprise
someone as
anymore.
dumb as you is going to catch on.
Yeah, exactly.
So
So,
when I was 30, Madhavi planned a surprise, not a party for me. So I was 30. Jacob was born in September, so Jacob's a month and a half old or whatever, right? And we had just moved into our house, first house, like in March. So we've had a mortgage for the first time for last 6 months. Oh no. So anyway, so Jacob's like 2 months old, and I have been at Glaxo for like 2 years or something like that. So I'm realizing that this is a career, not just my latest job. I'm going to be there for a while, and I was there for 20 years after that, right? And we had our mortgage for the first time, so it's all hitting me that 30, I'm suddenly feeling old, and I'm a little depressed, and feeling the weight of everything going into it. And Madhavi and I had been married for a couple of years at that point, 5 years or whatever at that point. So all that stuff's piled up. So I get home from work, and Malavi's all set up for Halloween for trick or treaters. On Halloween, not on my birthday, but on Halloween, I come home, and she goes, "Go upstairs, take a shower," and I laid out clothes for you. I'm like, "Okay," she's laying out a costume for me, great, and I'm just not in a great mood, whatever. But I go take the shower, I come out, and it's sports coat and slacks that's laid out for me, not a costume. I'm like, okay, so I get dressed, I come downstairs, and Malavi's sitting there with our best friend Sandra, who's Jacob's godmother, and they're drinking wine, and I'm like, I am getting a threesome for my 30th birthday. Sweet. And so I go to pour myself a glass. And no, you don't need to drink anything. I'm like, okay, that's a good point. I should stay sober.
yeah.
And doorbell, rings, whatever, and it's a kid. I, give them candy. They go away. I'm like, kids. Like, how late do we have to wait for the kids to stop going? And there's nothing flirty going on, which is confusing me. But whatever. I'm ready. I'll play it the way they play it. Doorbell rings again. I go open it, and it's my buddy Falcon, who's in my comedy group. And I'm like, "Hey, Falcon, what are you doing here?" And he goes, "I don't know," and just walks in. I'm like, that's weird. And as I'm like going to close the door, I see
Yes,
another.
and he should have yes and that.
As I was in there, he was still learning. Um, I see a car parking, and it's Al, the head of my comedy group, and I'm like, "Oh, I'm going out with my friends, and Sandra's here to keep her company." I misread the situation. So all the guys from my comedy group show up. They take me out to the Dollhouse, which was a gentleman's club in Raleigh at the time.
Nice.
And because it's Halloween, all the girls are in costume. They're dancing in costumes, kind of cool. And it's funny because the girl who was dancing when we got seated was this blonde, and she was dancing. She was dressed as Barbie, of course, and dancing to Barbie Girl. I'm a Barbie girl in a Barbie world. So when that movie came out and that song was playing, it's all I could think of every time I heard that song was my 30th birthday.
Yeah.
And at one point they hired a girl to come do no private room, but at the table dance for me. And And she's like, so what are you guys here for? And like, because Matthew just turned 30. And she goes, oh, I'm 31. And I'm like, oh my God, she's incredibly hot. And she's 30, maybe 30 is not as old as I thought it was. Okay, so I'm feeling a little better. I'm starting to feel in the groove, starting to feel better. And like at 11:30, they're like, come on, guy, Matthew, we got to go. I'm like, it's only 11:30. Like, we got to go, we got to go. And pile me in the car, and we drive to the Rialto, in Raleigh for Halloween midnight showing of Rocky Horror Picture Show. So okay, cool. That's gonna be kind of fun. And two of the guys in the group, Brian and Falcon, when they lived in Texas, they went like weekly. They played characters in the reenactment. They had knew every line of the movie, whatever. And so we're interacting, and I'm catching up as we go along because I've never really done it before. And then it comes time for the underwear run. And if it's your first time or you're celebrating something, you're supposed to go the underwear run. So like, Matthew, you got to go. I'm like, fine, fine, fine. So I'm stripped down in my underwear and I go up to the front of the stage to do the underwear run. And there's all these young girls around me, and I mean, they must have been at least high school age, maybe hopefully they were college age, but all I could think was
Every
somebody
single week.
put a sweater around these girls. Like I want to put like blankets over them. I never felt so old in my life as I did thinking that these girls should not be undressed in public. And that
So,
was my 30th birthday.
Sarah, if you're listening to this, I just want you to keep in mind that for 41st or 42nd, because let's face it, this is going out on my 41st.
A bunch of naked teenagers or a threesome are both
No,
acceptable.
I was gonna say, if you could have Matthew's friend come over for a threesome, or you could send me off with Matthew and Alex to a strip club, whatever you want to do. It's up to you. I want to empower you to make the powerful choice.
And I should say, one of the things that happened at the strip club is they had like a put your name, your business card in the fishbowl kind of thing, and win a free night, entry, whatever. Get like
a night with what?
No admission fee, like no admission.
Oh,
fee. You get to, but you bring as many people as you want.
You get to go home with candy.
It's Halloween.
It is Halloween.
No, so I
put her in a pillowcase, and
I did put my business card in, and I did get I called and I get everyone probably does eventually because it's on like Wednesday night when it's not a busy night, and you have to bring as many guests as you want, and there's no cover fee to get in. So it's their way of drumming up business. It doesn't hurt them to let you in, no cover fee if you weren't going to be there otherwise, right? So the first time we did, I was in animal care with a lot of young single people and whatever, and I brought like 20 people with me. So I won the contest that night of having the most people of any of the fishbowl guests. So I got dragged up on stage and had like 6 girls dance around me, and then they had me pick a girl to put in the chair and me dance for her, which is supposed to be awkward, but I am a performer, so I was like all over her, not touching her, but very close. Like, and she was terrified at first that I was going to grope her, and then when she realized that I wasn't, she started cracking up and having a great time. And she realized I was controlled. But I won a little like thermal lunch bag that said the Dollhouse on it, and a giant size, like a 2-pint probably beer mug that said the Dollhouse, and a T-shirt and some handcuffs. So it was very exciting. And then every like 2 months or so, I'd get a call from the planner there, the social person saying, "Hey, Matthew, pulled your name again. Would you like to come back?" Not pull my name, but like it was just like a re-invite back because I brought so many people, and like. And every time we went, it was less and less people. But it became a little less special when we went all the time.
Yeah.
And then finally, there was one time when I was supposed to go and it was snowing and icy, so we didn't go because the weather was too bad. And then I never got a call again after not showing up.
Well, anyway, so I don't know if you.
So it's cool you're wearing a Marvel shirt and I'm wearing a Green Lantern shirt.
Yeah,
representing our teams.
Yeah. Okay, this summer, I mean, I liked Fantastic Four. I would say I gave it an A, but Superman was an A+. Like, Superman is second favorite movie of the year, first favorite comic book movie of the year. So I am all team Superman right now.
I still don't want to do spoilers, even though it's been out for a while. But yeah, there's things about it I think are just. There's only one thing about it I didn't like, and it was relatively small. Otherwise, it was a near perfect film.
Yeah.
I probably say I didn't like the characterization of Ma Kent. I thought she was underdeveloped and underused.
Yeah, but she may end up They may use her again.
They could fix her in the future.
Yeah. Did you see Fantastic Four?
Not yet.
It was really good. It was the best Fantastic Four movie we've got.
And I'm looking forward to that because I actually like the second Fantastic Four movie, being not the Roger
Yeah,
Corman, but the first Chris Evans movie.
yeah,
And I didn't dislike the Silver Surfer one, the Rise of the Silver Surfer. It wasn't as
no,
good as the first one, but it was still a good movie. I still enjoyed it. I
yeah, they're
think
fun. They're
it
just not.
suffers being compared to the like early Marvel movies that were so much better.
Yeah,
But from at the time they were the best. Probably like Spider-Man and them were the only good superhero
X-Men.
movies.
The first two X-Men movies were excellent.
Were they at the same time? Yeah, maybe they were.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I mean, I probably liked Fantastic Four better because it was probably more comic book accurate than X Men wearing all black. The fact they
Other
wore
than
their costumes and
yeah,
stuff, like they embraced it a little more. So I probably liked it even more because I like when they don't shy away from the source material.
yeah. But I mean, X-Men came. The first X-Men movie came out in 2000, and other than the Batman and Superman movies, we hadn't had much that had been
Yeah,
successful.
they were really good. They were really
Yeah,
good.
I've been trying to get
And
Logan to
I
watch them.
actually didn't hate the Fantastic Four movie, Fantastic Four, whatever the hell it was. Um, if it just hadn't been a Fantastic Four movie.
I agree. When I
They
watched
just
it,
cut the last scene out and made them just a science fiction story about going to another dimension. It would have been a better movie.
hmm I mean, yeah, and I watched it a few years ago. I think after you had already told me that, but I agree with that. I also think that one of the things I kind of felt that way about did you not that it would have been good, but it would have been a lot less bad. Uh Madam Web. If did you see Madam Web or
I
no?
did.
I think that Madam Web could have been a better movie, not a good movie, a better movie if they had not made it a Spider-Man world movie.
They didn't force
Be-
them all to be Spider Women if they were all just
right.
different powers.
But also there didn't have to be this like, can we say Peter Parker? And we got what's Peter's mom supposed to be? Not May, because that's his aunt, but it was Emma Roberts was playing Peter Parker's mom, and she was pregnant. They were at the baby shower, and she's like, "We're gonna guess the baby name," and I'm like, "Oh, they're gonna do everything they can to like reinforce that
And
this
that
is a Spider-Man movie without including Spider-Man," which brought it down a lot. And then also you're writing in these like kind of you're writing yourself into these like loopholes to try to fit it in. And if you adjust like the idea that like, oh, she, Dakota Johnson sees all these things, and like, if without all the spider aspect of it, could have been a really cool story. And I feel like that happens a lot with IP, that like we have IP but we don't have, and so we're just going to throw in references. And Fantastic Four, Fan Four Stick or whatever they call that one, with Miles Teller, felt like a lot of the stuff was that way too. Whereas like we have a cool story that we're like almost retrofitting to Fantastic
yeah,
Four, and we have to throw these references in. So like, let's have Ben Grimm as the Thing be like, we are pretty fantastic as a four-person group,
the
and you're like,
foursome. Now let's have sex.
and so you're like, okay, you fit the title in, cool, and like I wouldn't.
And I think it's really relevant because when Jacob was young for his birthday, we and Joseph once both of them actually we rented out movie theaters and did well we didn't rent out, but we did birthday parties at movie theaters. We got to go in early and have like party time before the movie. Then the kids were all sat together at the movie.
Party time, excellent.
Yeah, excellent. Um, and and Jacobs, we did it at a place in Raleigh called Raleighwood, which was like not really first run movies, but they were also like it was a whole restaurant. Like you can go and just drink beer and enjoy yourself. But for the kids, they had like pizza and popcorn and Sprite or whatever. And it was the perfect birthday party. It was the first party we like didn't do at home. I'm like, this is the best birthday party because everyone shows up, they get their food and snacks, someone else cleans it up. And cartoons were playing, and then the movie played. We saw the animated Sinbad, I think, and kids enjoyed it. It was wonderful. The staff comes with giant clear plastic garbage bags and fills all the presents into them, so there's no present opening and taking notes and the kids clamoring over each other. You just do that at home. It was perfect. And Joseph, one year we did a birthday party for him just in Apex at the movie theater. Again, like they had a party room. You could do the party, then you shuffle in these 3 rows for your party or whatever.
Yeah.
And we saw Batman Dark Knight Rises at the IMAX for Jacob's like 12, 13, something like that birthday party. And we were like, I'm not paying for adults. I'm like, the kids are old enough that we don't need adults. I'm like, no adults allowed. And there was one kid from Jacob's preschool days have that they were like the best of friends all through preschool, and they never talked again except their birthdays were a couple of weeks apart, and they always went to each other's birthday parties, like all the way up until like that age. And the kid's like real rednecky kid. His dad is like a biker and shit, and they're really cool. They live out in Haw River, North Carolina, and we're at the IMAX, and the biker dad, Drew, who's like kind of built like you, but a little taller than me, and everything in proportion like that. He's just this man mountain kind of thing. Comes over and he's like, "Hey Matthew, I haven't seen this movie yet. Can I stay?" And I'm like, "Yeah, if you haven't seen it, you can stay." So I guess I had an extra adult on hand as it turned out, but it was very cool to see it in IMAX. It's very cool.
Yeah,
And I
I
saw
don't.
Superman in IMAX.
I haven't
It's
seen
the same
Superman.
IMAX. I saw it at the Marbles, the actual real giant
Oh,
IMAX, not a movie theater retrofit to be an IMAX.
there's a theater in Dallas that does. It's not IMAX, but it's a like
The
they do it on.
immersive,
If you see, you know what I'm talking about.
maybe the immersive was like
It's
wraparound screen and top and
right.
bottom.
Well, they have the stuff on the screen like normal shape, and then like you know how like people do the lights behind their TV and stuff
Yeah,
that they have like a dome that does that. Is that what you're talking about?
yeah. And LA has something that's more immersive, where there's actual
Hmm.
like
Well, it's graphics. Like
it reproduces the background, like the city
yeah,
streets are there behind. Like Metropolis is all the movies are on the screen, but Metropolis they have
yeah.
like the Matrix is playing there, and it's like made for it, so they have a full background made
Yes,
for it.
they have the Matrix. I think that the Matrix one has like they've built that out.
Yeah,
Other movies play, and it's more just like the lighting, but the Matrix is the one that they have. So I saw that on Instagram a few weeks ago, and we are going to be in Dallas this Sunday. And I was like, "What times is it showing?" But it's just like a really long layover.
yeah.
So we'll be in Dallas for like 7 or 8 hours, and I'm like, it's not gonna work out.
Not
But
drive there, do it, come back, go through security again.
yeah, no, we're gonna hang out in the city. We're gonna go do stuff, but we're
But
time. But that's
not see a 3 hour movie in the middle of
right.
it.
Yeah. And Logan's like, "Can I watch The Matrix?" And I'm like, I don't remember there being much bad in The
Matrix
Matrix.
either 2 or 3 had the orgy scene, but Matrix 1 didn't have anything bad in it.
Okay, so I'll tell him he can only watch 2 or 3 because of the orgy scene.
Right.
Yeah. Um.
I
Yeah.
think 2 had the orgy and 3 had the two of them having sex. Or one. Like there was a scene like there was an orgy going on and Trinity and Neo were having sex at the same time. It was flashing between the orgy and them
Yeah.
having sex. That was either in the second or the third.
I
But
didn't. I mean, I've only seen all 3 of them once a piece. And I think that I think you're talking about the second one, and I don't remember even it being an orgy. I thought it was like a rave that they were fucking at, essentially.
yeah,
But I could be wrong.
I would call that an orgy. Once everybody's fucking,
No, no,
the
like
rave has become an
Trinity
orgy.
and Neo are fucking, but nobody. I didn't remember anybody else fucking.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't really remember. I don't remember vividly. In my head, they were, and they will be forever. And
Yeah,
those movies weren't good enough to
Jada.
watch.
Yeah, only the first one. I haven't seen the fourth one yet.
Okay,
Yeah,
they go downhill. You know,
yeah,
the fourth one was kind of like those superhero movies. We're like, we have an idea, let's force it in and make it work.
yeah. There are some good fourth superhero movies.
Oh yeah, no, I just meant the
Superman
superheroes.
4, Quest for Peace.
Of course, I just meant the movies like Fantastic Four
I know.
or whatever. You know, like where they kind of forced it to be a Fantastic Four with Madam Web, but they forced it to be a Spider-Man. I just meant in that regard.
I feel like right now we're in that, especially like we're in a period of time where it's like everybody wants existing IP and it's creating that problem a lot more than like I'm sure it happened back in the day, but like you could get an original IP launch easier 30 years ago than you can now.
It's one thing that frustrates me the most is when you have an IP where the movie maker's like, I don't really like this IP, but I want to use the name because that gets me more tickets. So I'm going to make a shitty movie that has nothing to do with the original scope or characters or plot and just call it the other thing and then hope I make money off it. Like is a remake or adapted from something where you could have just said inspired by and been more honest because you didn't make a remake of that movie.
Well, and one of the things that happens too a lot in like development is they'll get a script for movie A that is not a part of the IP, and they're like, we like this script, but we need something to do with this, so retrofit this to match this, and that I think ends up being real shitty. I don't know that that's the case with what happened with Jurassic World Dominion, but Jurassic World Dominion feels like it was a different script that someone was like, let's go back and just add dinosaurs. Like, did you see Jurassic World Dominion?
No, Malavi saw it and really liked it. I will see it soon.
No, not the new one,
Oh,
not the one
not the
that
new
came out last month.
one.
The one that came out two,
No,
3 years
sorry.
ago.
Maybe.
Anyway, it's the dinosaurs are
After a while, they're all the same, right?
yeah, unfortunately, but like that one has kind of a decent plot if it was not a Jurassic World movie, because the dinosaurs are background. They're not like in any way consequential to the events of the movie and like the plot of the movie, which
Okay.
feels like you could potentially do something cool with that, but they didn't. And it feels like someone wrote this script. I'm gonna spoil the movie for you. You cool with that?
No, was it the one where they were genetically engineering them to be weapons?
Uh, they were genetically engineering the bugs, and to ruin competitors' crops, and then the bugs got genetically engineered out of, or they like overbred, and they were going to cause like a worldwide famine because of
Okay, I don't know if I saw that one or not. But
and
maybe the previous, I guess, Jurassic Park
yeah,
was with the little
yeah.
girl was a clone,
They
and
they kind of started that process in the previous movie, and then this one was, but like you could easily. That's actually a really cool
it didn't have to
story.
be connected with Jurassic
Look,
Park. It could have been its own movie
yeah,
that came out.
and ultimately it should have been, because you just distract us from it with like, oh, I got to go take care of the Raptors, and I got to stop Blue. Like it's
I
like, well,
gotta
you
do
don't
that.
need that, and there's a bunch of like dumb shit in the movie that is dumb otherwise. Like it'll drive me crazy till the day I die.
Ooh, ooh, it drives me crazy.
But
Ooh,
at one
ooh,
point
your
they're on a
movie
plane.
scene. Ooh, ooh,
They're on a plane that's
drives
going
me
down.
crazy.
Okay,
I'm gonna scream.
they're on a plane that's going to go down, and they only have one parachute for three people. And so Chris Pratt and
And the smartest man in the world just took my backpack.
the Chris Pratt and the pilot are like telling the redhead, Ron Howard's daughter, "You take that. We'll try to
Bryce Howard.
Bryce Dallas Howard. We'll try to crash land it." So she takes the parachute and she goes down, and she ends up in this like very tropical jungle. She hides underwater from the dinosaurs. It's visually pretty stunning. In order to get a different visual stunningness, they crash land 30 seconds later in Antarctica. And I don't know how fast that plane was going, but I also understand that like there's no fucking way that it was that those two things exist within like close enough proximity to
6 hours
do.
later, they crash landed.
Like, yeah, you could say like, oh, they were already in like the downward spiral, like, and you can get 100 miles.
They skipped like a rock on the water for a
Yeah,
while.
yeah. Well, I mean, I've heard from people that at a full cruising altitude, if the engines go out, you can have about 100 miles. 100 miles
That should get
between
you.
tropical and Antarctica like conditions does not exist on this planet, as far as I am aware, anywhere. Like I get it if it was mountaintop snow, but this was like the
They were on the
entire
continent.
yeah
So I'm going to say
birthdays.
that Madhavi and I on her birthday once watched the movie Open Water. I'm just going to say that so I can bitch about this movie and say
Okay,
it's related to birthdays. You ever see Open Water?
it
It's
sounds
about a
familiar.
couple who are like in the tropics and they go out on a scuba diving kind of expedition with a bunch of other people. And there's a mistake when they're tallying up how many people are on the boat. So when they don't come back up to the boat and they think they have a full boat, so they head back in and leave these people in open water. And the story is about this couple being in the water and sharks around them, and nobody knows they're missing until the next day,
Based on the true story.
based on a true story. And they die, never speaking to anyone. But they have a whole movie of them talking, having marital problems, and coming together and falling apart. Like, based on a true story that, yes, two people disappeared off a boat once and we don't know what happened to them. That's the extent of the true story.
Sure.
Oh, so frustrating. Randomly inspired by a headline I saw in the newspaper once.
Yeah. I watched a movie that was based on a true story that I actually really liked called Adrift with Shailene Woodley.
So the sequel, I saw Tokyo Drift.
Yeah, nice. And there's a point in the like I like when you're watching a true story movie and you're like, wait, how the fuck did this happen? And it like subverts your expectations, and then you realize like it is correct. Or like I also like Inglorious Bastards, where you're like, I know that Hitler didn't die in this theater, so like what's gonna happen? And then Hitler dies. Like I like that to
But
some
that's what
extent.
created the extra violent universe that all Tarantino films
Oh
existed.
yeah.
That's why
Yeah.
it's so violent in that universe, because the war ended so violently for Hitler that violence is more acceptable in our culture because of it. That's one
Yeah.
of the fan theories. That's why the entire that's the pivotal moment that created the shared universe that almost everything else is in. Because then they have things like Kill Bill is probably the movie that Uma Thurman's talking about in Pulp Fiction.
Yeah. Yeah. Mama Tomato, Papa Tomato, Baby Tomato.
And um, um, so did you? You're younger than me, but you're old enough to have had this experience. Did you ever have a birthday experience where at your birthday you realized, oh, this is it, I'm older now? Because mine was in my late 20s. There was a birthday where I suddenly realized I had aged at my birthday. I mean, my 30-year-old one also, but that was leading up to it and stuff. But
Yeah. Um 30 was not a big deal for me. Like I said, I was getting married 2 weeks later, so like
a
and
little
the
distracted.
year that I turned 30 was a lot going on. My grandmother died. I got married. Like those things like bookended. Like that was a just a whirlwind year. Last year, I think I had a lot going on at the like almost exact moment of my birthday. Like my like breakdown was like August 25th or 4th, and my birthday was August 29th. I've had a lot of mental health crises near my
Your dad and
birthday.
I getting into that fist.
Not exactly what you're talking about with realizing I'm aging, but I will say my birthday. So my first like one of my first major mental health crises was on my birthday weekend, like the day after or something, and I was hospitalized, and then the next year I was hospitalized again on the same weekend,
That's a fun one.
and for both times for mental health stuff. And in mental health, there's a lot of times where like anniversaries and triggering things kind of create, can be like recurring. And so like my birthday kind of can bring that out. I like like last year I had a great time having my party and having my family come down, and I do enjoy my birthday, but like it can come with a lot of shit for me, like within a day before or after. But yeah, I don't remember ever being at my birthday and being like, oh fuck, I'm
Yeah,
older now.
I don't remember how old I was. It was before 30, so it was like 27 or 28, probably maybe 29, but I think it was 27, 28. Where I had a buddy I used to do comedy with before I did comedy with Mikey, whose birthday was on Halloween. Probably still is, and uh, we just don't do comedy together anymore because he doesn't live here.
Because he's
But
into MAGA and I hate him and have cut him
oh
off.
no, his wife is and my wife are such kindred spirits on Facebook. They might as well live together. They're so in
Oh,
sync.
okay. Good. It's
Um,
nice to hear about one of your like former friends who's just a former friend because of drifting and not
yeah,
because
just because he lives
they
in Chicago and he
yeah,
doesn't, he's not active on
not
social media.
not like
Yeah,
and they're a fucking
no,
MAGA person.
no. But Pat's his birthday was Halloween, mine's day after Halloween, and back then, like Madhavi and I always threw a Halloween party. And when we were doing comedy regularly, so everybody, like the comedy club, the annual tradition was on Halloween, everyone came to my house. You brought your costumes with you to the club. If you were performing, you brought it to change into. If you were working the show or just hanging out, you wore your costume. Everybody came to our house. Um, and then one tradition was funny. This guy Matt, once his girlfriend dumped him Halloween night before he came to the house. And there's a picture where he's in the background, like this picture of other people, but he's in the background, like dipping a chip into some dip, just looking like deathly depressed. And so every year he would reenact that picture. We'd put him in the background and have him dipping a chip. But Pat would always plan to stay over my house after the party. And after everybody else left, we would just drink ourselves, for our birthdays into drunkenness. And this one year, and he was maybe a year younger than me only, but this one year we're drinking and we have like everyone's left. So we had a couple of drinks with people there, whatever. My parties are not alcohol fest, so there was not a lot of drinking. And then everyone leaves. We break out a 6-pack, and we have like 3 each. And like normally, I'd go get another 6-pack, and I go, you know what? I don't think I want another beer. And he goes, yeah, me either. I mean, like I could have more. I just don't feel like it's necessary. He's like, yeah, me either. And then we both paused. We looked at each other. And we're like, are we old now? Is this what old is? like we're adults all of a sudden, and we're responsibly stopping drinking instead of drinking until you have to crawl upstairs.
I
Moment.
forgot that you had set that part of it up, and when you were like, "I don't feel like drinking anymore. I don't feel like drinking anymore," and we looked at each other. My next thought was, "Are we gonna fuck?" There's been so many times when I've wanted to break awkwardness with that phrase, and so like sometimes
that's how I got married.
Yeah, there was a woman that I used to work with at my most recent job, and she hated
Where was that?
me.
That you don't work anymore, and they have nothing over you.
Circle K.
Circle K.
She hated me, and
Circle
it was always
KKK the way they treated you.
Yeah. Yeah. Anyway, she I don't know how to follow that up. But her and I just did not get along, and I used to say to Sarah, I just want to like break the ice and just be like, "Are we gonna fuck now?" But yeah. So anyway, you got anything else? Oh, I forgot one of the things I wanted to mention was leap birthdays, which I think are really interesting.
Like 21st Yabba the Riddle?
I don't know what the fuck you just said. 24th what?
21st Yabba the Riddle. So there are some hardcore people out there who have seen the Kevin Kline, Angela Lansbury, Rex Smith, Linda Ronstadt version of Pirates of Penzance who are laughing their asses off at what a great reference that fucking was. That actually, it may even be in every version of Gilbert and Sullivan's Pirates of Penzance. It may not be just in that version. But there's a part where the theme of the show is, if you've never seen it, if you don't watch Gilbert and Sullivan, Frederick is a apprentice pirate, and the play starts with they're celebrating his 21st birthday, and he is now a man, and he's a full member of the pirate troupe, and they're celebrating him, and and it's his turn to make a speech, and his speech is, "Today I leave you all forever," and they're like, "What?" And I will dedicate my life to hunting you down like the pigs that you are. Because individually, I love you like brothers, but collectively, I loathe you with a hatred. And he goes, but you've been with us. He goes, when I was a child, my nurse was supposed to apprentice me to actually, he says he doesn't want to tell the story, but then the nurse tells the story because he doesn't want to reflect badly on it. But when he was a child, she was supposed to take him at 7 years old to a ship's pilot and apprentice him to a pilot to learn how to sail. But she was hard of hearing, and she thought his father said pirate. So she apprenticed him to a pirate, and so he is a slave to duty. So the contract said till his 21st birthday, so he was there until his 21st birthday, and now he's leaving. Later in the show, he's getting his troops ready to go kill the pirates, and the pirate king and the nurse show up at the estate where he's staying, and he's ready to kill them, and they're like, please don't kill us. And then so mercy stays his hand. And they go, oh, you're never forgiven yourself if you killed your own pirate king and your comrades. And he goes, what? He goes, oh, here, as it turns out, we were looking at the contract and we found this great paradox. You were born on leap year, which means although you've lived on leap year day, on February 29th, on leap year, and though you've lived 21 years, if we go by birthdays, you're only 5 1/4. And they laugh about haha. And then he goes, "Oh, come on with us." And like, what do you mean? And he goes, "Well, I don't think you understand your predicament." They open the script, the contract. You are apprenticed with us. And he goes, "Yes, until my 21st year." And he goes, "No, so your 21st Yabba the Riddle. Oh, your 21st birthday."
Nice.
And then he has to rejoin the pirates because it's a slave to duty. And he tells his fiancée, when I'm 84, I'll come back to you. And nice. She sings, "It seems so long."
That's a good joke. It took a lot of setup, but that was good.
Yeah, well, if you watch the play, it takes an hour to get to that joke.
Nice.
And that is one of my favorite musicals. I saw it in Theater in the Park, I think twice, and then I saw it on Broadway once, and then they made a movie version of that cast, except Angela Lansbury wasn't in the play cast. She was only in the movie. Everybody else was in the play. Linda Ronstadt, Kevin Kline, and Rex Smith. And,
Yeah.
and you don't know who Rex Smith is because you're too young. But still, he was a pop star. He was Street Hawk, if you ever remember that shitty Knight Rider ripoff about a guy on a fast motorcycle. That was Rex Smith.
No.
He looks familiar.
He had a couple of pop songs in the.
And Nighthawk is what the
early 80s.
IMDb page is showing.
Yeah.
Oh, he played Daredevil on the
Trial of Incredible Hulk.
That's right. He was the first TV Daredevil.
Yeah.
No costume, just wearing all black with a mask.
Nice. All right. I was going to talk about leap years, but you kind of covered it, which
Yeah.
like
you're 4 1/4 instead of 21.
Yep.
4 and a little bit over.
Yeah. I had a friend.
A paradox.
I had a friend who she was 6 months to the day older than me, born on February 29th, which would make her 10 years old.
If we go by birthday.
Yeah. Actually, 10 1/4 right now.
So what's interesting is my best friend growing up, Macachud now, his birthday is a month before mine to the day. He's October 1st. I'm November 1st. And his second son, his birthday is April 20th, and Jacob's is September 20th. He's like, the second son was a month to the day older than Jacob is.
Nice.
It's a funny little coincidence that we had.
April 20th is also Hitler's birthday, so...
Well, it makes sense that his dad's MAGA now.
Yeah. My sister-in-law and my cousin are both April 20th, and I'll be like, oh, you get the same birthday as Hitler, and I believe it's also the day that the Oklahoma. My cousin was born like either the day of or the day after the Oklahoma City bombing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
I remember Madhav and I were in the Poconos on spring break together, so it definitely was that time period.
Yeah. And like, with back then, I remember like being like a little kid and like what we were doing when we got the news that people were being born. And so like we were watching the news, like about the Oklahoma. Okay. It was the day before she was born. But that's actually how I remember like a lot of stuff is like, oh yeah, this is where I was when, or this is how it was the day after, like, I got my license the day before September 11th. That's how I remember September 11th. No, I mean, that's how I remember when I got my license.
I always remember July 4th because I know that on July 5th once I did something. So I know the 4th comes before the 5th.
Yeah. Yeah. My grandfather's birthday is July 3rd. So that's how I remember the 4th.
Yeah. I always think it's funny that, America's birthday, as we, so call it, the 4th of July is the only date that we routinely use European numbering for when we say 4th of July instead of July.
Yeah.
So often.
Yeah, that's true.
It's ironic. Don't you think? Just a little ironic. I mean, I really do think.
Did you ever watch Jim Jeffries had a show on FX?
That sounds like the name of a show. Jim Jeffries had a show.
No, it was, I forget if it was called Jeffries or Jim but it was Jim Jeffries. It was one of those, like, they play themselves,
you can
like
call me
Louis.
Jim, or you can call me Jeffries, or you can call me J. Jeffries, or you can call me Jimmy J, or you can call me JJ, but you doesn't have to call me Johnson.
It was, like Louis, like where it's like,
right, Seinfeld, Louis, Ellen.
Yeah, but more like Louis
Roseanne.
in the sense that it was like that, like FX super gritty like version of, not like 3 camera, not like focused on the other characters. It's focused on the main. It would be a Seinfeld if we didn't really see that much of Costanza or the others.
Okay.
So anyway, the show was like that, and one of the episodes, it was a great show too. One of the episodes, he's going to a baseball game on 9/11, and everyone starts like chanting 9/11, which is weird or whatever, and he's like, it's 11/9, and they're like, what? And you know how Americans are, they're like getting offended, and he's like, it's 11/9, and they're like, why would it be 11? They're like pissed off at him, and he's like, because You go day, month, year, smallest, middle, biggest. And they're like, it's 9/11. He's like, 11/9. And he's like fighting, and they're like threatening. They're like, you're un-American. And he's like, I'm Australian. And like, and of course, but it's 11/9, you stupid fucks. And he's like getting like really bent out of shape. That show was really controversial on a lot of episodes, but like brilliantly so. Like, that's the kind of episode that would piss people off, and you'd be like, well, he's not wrong. There's nothing to argue there, really. Like, like from a morality standpoint.
You remember Adam, the
My best friend, yeah.
The Scottish, no, real one, the Scottish guy at UMRU back when you worked there. He had a thing once where somebody was insisting on something in a time frame that was ridiculous, and they came in his office and they wrote the date they wanted it by on his whiteboard, American style. And let's say it was 9/11 or whatever. They brought like 9, dash 11 dash, whatever the year was. And he went,
so November 9th.
And as soon as they walked out, he turned to me and goes, November 9th, I can get it done by then. He goes, in this office, that's November 9th. And actually it worked out because in biosciences and stuff, we generally use good laboratory practices, and we do date things that way because that's the way the manufacturing and the laboratory have to date things. So like that, usually people date things that way. That should be that's November. That's the 9th of November.
Yeah. All right, we should wrap things.
Speaking of dates, I want to thank everyone who spent the entire time listening to us, not watching us because you couldn't possibly do that. But if you watch the pieces that exist before when Mike remembered to hit record, or the little bit you did watch, go ahead and like that. Make a comment that says, hey, Mike, push the go live button. When you say, Matthew, we're live, push the button first.
There's two buttons. There's a Riverside button and a YouTube button. And I'm hitting the Riverside go live button, and I forget the YouTube button.
Tell Mike what a dork he is. Tell him for his birthday, he should buy himself one of those fancy iPhones that have a reminder feature on it and have a remind, push both buttons. And then subscribe to the channel and hit the notification bell, because you can't count on the fact that at 6:30 on a Monday we're going to go live. It could be any time because, he has to push the button. So make sure you hit the bell so you'll get a warning saying, finally went live, and then you could jump in and catch the last 10 or 20 minutes of the show. Thank you.
Anyway, if you're listening to us or watching us or whatever, please use your podcast app of choice to give us a like, a thumbs up. As of this is going to be our first episode doing this, but like if you're watching, you can watch us on Spotify as of this episode, as well as YouTube.
We are Joe Rogan.
Yeah, I just found out that we've been putting through Spotify. I found out that if I put it in as a video, the audio will just rip off onto all the other platforms, and so I can, it might help us get engagement on Spotify itself. So from now on, if I'm making the video version anyway, we may as well, right?
That's a really big if, though.
I do make the video version every week. So anyway, so there's that. If you wanted to help us out, because Matthew's retired, Alex is not working, and I am not working. Well, I don't want to say we're not working. We're unemployed. We're not getting paid.
We're not getting a regular pay. None of us have a regular paycheck coming in every other month.
Right. So if you wanted to help us with that, you could go to patreon.com / talking about the big stuff. And you could help us out for as little as $0, honestly. That would be, just like help grow our base.
You can sign up there for $0, take the RSS feed and put it in your podcast player of choice and get it through Patreon, just so Patreon knows that you love us.
Yeah. And then also we have other options. We have the dollar option, which is $1 a month. Like that's nothing.
That's like paying $1 a month.
Yeah. I don't even have a comparison. Like, they say like
that's
one
like
cup of coffee a day.
Gum a month.
Yeah. For $1 a month, you can get the episodes early.
4 days early.
Oh! 4 days early. For $3 a month, you can get the episodes with most of the stuff not cut out of it. Like most of the
4 days early.
Yeah, 4 days early. And then for $10 a month, you can get the bonus at the beginning and the like less censored version throughout 4 days
And a
early,
birthday threesome.
and potentially a birthday threesome.
No promises on that. You
If
have to
you
arrange it on your
that's
own.
the $100.
We'll support you emotionally.
We'll
And
send Alex
spiritually.
over. We'll start doing the thing with
We'll send you
where
our producer to produce it.
yeah, if he sits there in the cuck chair, it counts as a threesome. I don't make the rules. Anyway, so patreon.com/talking about the big stuff is a great place to support us. You don't have to spend any money to do it. You can if you want. And obviously, you want to help us out, right? And another way you can help us out is by buying my book. We got my first novel, The Dinner Party, is going to be out in November, but you can pre-order it now.
And you should.
And you should. It will help us. It'll help us to pay the bills. And I also, if you like short stories, poems, and essays, you can get everything I've got left, which is available today. You order it, and it will come to you in whatever time it takes for Amazon or Barnes and Noble or whatever website that you like to buy books from. It will come that quickly. And there's some cool shit in here. There is a story called My Very First Orgy. There's a story called Nude. It is a great time.
It was really a raid, but he was masturbating, so we consider it an orgy.
Anyway, it's weird that we had 2 orgy mentions on the episode. It's not weird is that every episode we end up talking about high school students.
So you're into them.
You're the one who brought it up today. But nobody knows until the episode goes live because it goes out because that part was all cut out by my stupidity. So anyway, it's I'm proud of it. I think that it's pretty cool. It's $9.99 digital, $9.99 through my website, or $14.99 through Amazon and Barnes and Noble. And that's all I've got to plug. Other than the butt plug.
Cool. So except for his butt plug, there's nothing left to plug. I just wanted to say thank you for sticking with us, being here to talk about the big stuff. It's been like a birthday present for us.
Remember, the conversation doesn't end here. It's just the beginning. If you have thoughts or questions or topics you'd like us to tackle in a future episode, drop us a line on our social media channels. Engage with this video when you are now watching it as a VOD on YouTube. Send us an email. We love hearing from our listeners, bringing us topics, because if you leave it up to the 3 of us, we're going to eventually be talking about underwater basket weaving. So we would appreciate you guys reaching out a little bit. Don't forget to subscribe to Talking About the Big Stuff on your favorite platform. Give us a 5-star rating. Engage with it. Criticize us. We need to grow and be better, and you're going to help us be there. You're going to help us get to that point. It really helps us more to reach out and also to keep the conversation going. Thank you for tuning in. We'll be back next week with more big ideas and more thought-provoking discussions. Until then, stay curious, stay informed, and keep talking about the big stuff.
The preceding podcast has been a Chocolate Diamond Media LLC production. Copyright 2023, all rights reserved.